This is Paul Kirby with the Lexington Ledger here in our studio. It has been cold this morning, down in the 20s, and I'm here with Taylor Williams of Servpro of Cayce, West Columbia and Lexington. We're here talking about cold weather events and freezing pipes. Now, Taylor was telling me that oftentimes, no matter how old your house is or how new your house is, you can still have a problem when we get down into the 20s or below. Taylor, we've got a little drawing here that shows us a house with a nicely insulated attic space. How do we get frozen pipes in a house like this?
Sure. So in your cornices, and you have, it's ventilated, so you get cold air coming up through the cornices, and it causes your attic space to be cool. And then you have these pipes that will run up through the walls and then up into your attic, and then they'll be fed back down into walls elsewhere. But as it comes up, it curves around. This plastic piping curves around, and so you might have some coverage in this area, but then once you start getting into the more open areas, then you're going to have a problem with the wind chill is going to potentially freeze those pipes, and then as those pipes thaw out, then they might burst and then cause water damage inside your house.
All right, so what's my first clue that I've got a problem? If I get up in the morning, I'm getting ready to go to work.
That you don't have any water. So whenever you go to cut on your water, your cold water, your hot water, particularly your hot water, if you're not getting any water coming out at all, then you know that you probably, well, that your pipes are frozen. And that doesn't necessarily mean that they are actually frozen and split, but typically it does. And at that point, you want to go ahead and shut off your water. And then at that point, it's really kind of a waiting game. You have to see, and you either need to stay and watch as the day as the day gets warmer and the pipes thaw out, if you have any water bursts. And if you don't, that doesn't necessarily mean that you're in the clear. It may mean that you still need to go out to your meter and check it out and see if everything's turned off. The water meter should not be spinning.
So you mean by turning off, you mean faucets in the house, the wash machine, all those things. If we don't have anything like that on and the meter in the meter box out in your yard is spinning, we've got a problem somewhere.
Right. So if you cut it off earlier in the day and then it's thawed out and you're still not, and you go to turn on your water and you still don't have any water, but you go to turn on, or all your faucets are turned off, and then you cut the water back on, and the meter continues to spin, then you still have a water leak somewhere, and you need to call a plumber.
All right, so I've gone to work, and now my neighbors called and said, hey, did you install a new waterfall in the house? Because you've got water running out the front door. At that point in time, we've got this kind of mess. What do we do?
Yeah, and we joke about that, but that is legitimately, we had 3 or 4 calls last year where neighbors saw water flowing out the front door and flooding their yard.
All right, so how do we cut the water off to begin with? Now, I know in a well situation, because I'm on a well, that I've got 2 breakers that cut my pump off. I've got a submersible pump down in the ground. I cut those 2 breakers off, it cuts that water off. What if I'm on city water?
So you need to locate your meter, which is going to be somewhere in your yard. So you need to find your meter box and then go to it and open it up. And inside of it, you're going to see this valve. And you need to turn this valve a quarter turn. And you turn it with this water key.
All right, now where do you get something like this? Because you don't see these just everywhere.
Right. If you don't already own one, you need to purchase one from a local supply house or a hardware store.
So a big box place, a retailer, a hardware store should have this, correct?
Yes.
Now, if you have not done your homework, I can tell you that in Lexington County, the fire department will come and cut your water off, but you don't want to wait that long. You want to get this cut off as quickly as possible. Now, we've got perhaps upstairs, maybe if we're in a 2-story house or somewhere in the house, we've got sheetrock that's suddenly turning gray color. It's not pretty and white anymore. Maybe some of it's falling and maybe water's beginning to drip through. What's going on?
So at that point, it's probably a good indicator that you do have a water damage. And at that point, if you feel like it's safe, then you can go into the area and use a screwdriver or something similar and poke very small holes so that you can let that water drain out. And now if you're already past the point of no return and that you start seeing the tape joints in the drywall and the drywall starts sagging, at that point, you may want to just take a step back, and call us to come in and take care of it.
All right, so when we call Servpro, you guys are going to come in and treat it just as this is your own home. You're going to take out whatever's been water damaged, try to dry it. You're going to be able to try to assess the floors to see whether my floors are ruined or where they can be saved. Do I need to call my insurance agent?
At that point, no, you can just call us. We'll assess the damages, and then we'll tell you, yes, it's probably a good idea to file a claim, or no, this is not a large enough deal that you may not need to file a claim.
Oh, well, what if it's 7 o'clock at night and you guys have gone home for the night?
They haven't, and especially during a storm event, we've probably been working since 11 or 12 o'clock in the afternoon, so we're going to be running round the clock for the next 2-3 days to try to make sure that we can get to everybody.
So they're going to dry it out. They're going to assess it. They've even got meters that will tell you how much moisture is in your floors. They'll measure in a place that may be dry and then a place that has gotten wet to make sure that they've gotten it back down to the correct moisture, whether they have to replace or repair. They'll deal with your insurance company for you. When they get through, it's like it never even happened. And this time of the year, also a time for fires. You've got to be careful about that. If you have a fire, call Servpro. Again, they come in, they take out everything, things I never even thought about. Computers, televisions that may need the circuit boards cleaned. I've seen appliances down at your shop where people are cleaning the appliances that have gotten smoked up, sooted up, those kind of things like that. Again, when Servpro comes in, they make it like it never even happened. 24 hours a day, just like the fire department. They're on call to be there if you need them. Tell them how to get a hold of you.
They can call our office at 755-9774.
755-9774, Servpro of Cayce, West Columbia, and Lexington, like it never even happened.